Hi again everybody! This is the second part of the exercise to draw the ground floor in this project architecture. In this part, we are going to learn to create dynamic blocks for the windows and the doors, and to insert text. Let's start! In the next chapter, we will create the windows and doors to insert them on the floor plan. We are going to use blocks for that operation. Let's start with the window. And it's very important that you draw the objects for your blocks in the layer 0. So I switch the current layer to 0. Then I'm going to draw the window with the command line using the measurements available on the PDF file. This line has the length of the exterior walls, which is 350 mm. Then I'm going to make a horizontal line at 50 mm above the bottom. And its length is exactly the length of the window. I type 1200, as most of the windows in this floor plan have this measurement. Finally, on the opposite side, I will use the command mirror, select the line, go to this midpoint, and make a vertical mirror line here. For the remaining object, I'm going to offset the horizontal line with a distance of 50 mm. I click on it and copy it above. Now, an important information. Windows and doors are usually representative elements on the floor plans. The important thing is that the size of the gap to place them is correct. Now let's continue. We want to convert a window to a single object, as it will be much more comfortable for us to use it on the drawing and for moving and copying purposes. Basically, I'm going to create a block. Go to the block panel. Click on Create a block. On the first blank, I type the block name, for example, window. Then I click on this button to select the objects. I'm going to open a selection through all the window. Then on base point, the option Specify on Screen is ticked, and it means that if I click on OK, the program automatically prompts me to specify the base point. It's simple, so I choose this one for example. And as you see, the block is now completed. To insert a window in the project, first I switch the current layer to Windows. I go to this button, Insert a block, and choose the window. As you can see, I can place the block anywhere on the workspace, and it's also located on the layer Windows. You can see that changed the color to blue. But do you remember? Before I told that we should put the objects on layer 0 for creating a block. Why? Suppose I have these objects in the layer staircase, for example, and I want to create a block with them. I repeat the process as before, and after finishing, I select the block, I change it to a different layer, but you can notice that the color hasn't changed. Basically, what really happens is, the objects that compound the block stay on their original layers, except if they were created on the layer 0, because actually the layer 0 is not a real layer. Now you can insert the windows on the floor plans without big issues. But before, I'm going to show you to add parameters to a block. It's a very useful utility, you will see. In this case, we will create a grip to change easily the size of the window. And these kind of blocks are called dynamic blocks. First, we have to open the block editor. We can click on this icon on the block panel and then select the window. Another way to access the block editor is select the block reference, click with the right button and then click here. Okay, Now we are in the block editor mode. Here we can add or remove objects to our block, and then all its block references on the drawing update automatically. Besides that, we can add a new parameter from the ones in the panel at the left. And don't worry, because you will understand all this at the end. I'm going to click on Linear to add a distance parameter along the length of the window. Then, a parameter by itself doesn't have a practical effect. It's required that I associate an action to it. I switch to the Action tab, and for this case, I'm going to add a stretch to the parameter distance1. Select the parameter, then specify the point to associate with the action. I choose this. Then specify a stretch frame. It's going to be all this part. Select all the objects except the first line. Also, when you are selecting, don't worry to keep the parameters out of the selection, because they don't count. Press Enter. I save the block and close the block editor. Back in the normal workspace, select the block, and the distance parameter is represented by this triangle. Clicking on it, I can change the length of the window by typing the new distance. Can you see? It's so easy and practical. To insert the windows on the floor plan, I make sure that the current layer is Windows. Then I go to Insert a Block and click on Window. To place the window on this room, I hover this endpoint, move to the right and put it around here. As it says 707 on the distance, I type 700 just to look more organized. And yes, when looking at a PDF file, you notice that I haven't put the precise locations of the windows and the doors in the rooms. Actually, the purpose of this exercise is to make you decide to place these blocks wherever you want. Just imagine that you are the architect and you are creating this project. Of course, when you draw the first floor, you need to take in consideration the position of the windows here. Now, let's continue with the other windows. A method that I like to use is with the command copy. Use a window that's already on the floor plan. It will make this process quickly. It's better to switch to the polar mode here, for being easier to move the windows around. I put this window here. Now, for example, I type 800. Important. It's always good to have a window besides the drawing, so I can copy it when necessary. To place a window in the middle of the room, I choose a base point in the middle. Then I click on this midpoint, move it up and type an extension of 50 to place the window exactly on the correct location. Then you just need to continue putting all the remaining windows on the drawing. Just follow the PDF file. On the side walls, I have to make a rotation to the window. I type RO and press Enter. Click on this point. Then rotate 90 degrees. Finally, copy the window to the walls at the right. For the windows that have a length different than 1200, use the stretch parameter to resize it. Okay, before moving to the doors, let's add a new parameter to the window block. This new parameter will switch the window upside down. I'm going to double-click on one of the windows to access the editor mode, And notice that all the blocks that have this icon are dynamic blocks. This time I will add a flip parameter, and this one has the same logic as the mirror command. I specify this point as a reflection line and make it horizontal. This parameter is called flip state 1. Then go to Actions, click on Flip, select the parameter flip state 1, select all the objects, press Enter. Then I close the editor mode, save the changes. Now, if I click on any of the block references, a new parameter is added to the window. And look how I can easily switch the position of it. Now we are going to create the doors. Before creating a door block, don't forget to set the current layer on 0 and start with the door frame. You can follow the measurements on the PDF file or just make a different shape if you want. Here I use this intersection and then connect to the beginning. Then I draw a vertical line which represents the door itself. The length is actually the door length, 850 millimeters. For the door opening we need an arc, and we are going to select the option Start, Center, End. The start point is on the top of the line. The center is here, the point where the door rotates, and for the end point I use the extension tracking and I click anywhere along this axis, because the radius of the arc is already set, but of course I need to switch the direction of the arc. Look at the command bar. Hold Ctrl to switch direction. I do exactly that, wait, and aha, now I can click. Then I draw a support line here, because it's going to help me on the next step, which is with the command mirror. I'm going to draw the frame on the other side. Select the objects that compound the frame, press Enter again, and use the midpoint of the horizontal line to draw the mirror line. Okay, I can delete the line if I want. So, once I complete the door, I can convert it to a block like what we did for the windows. Let's this time do a different way. Select the objects first, and then type B and press Enter. Here I type the name, click OK and select the base point. OK, it's done. To edit the block, I can select the door, and with the right button I go to Block Editor. That's another way. So this time we are going to add two flip actions. One will flip the door across the Y-axis and the other across the X-axis. First, finally I need the support line here. Then I click on Flip and insert one parameter at the midpoint. Then switch to Action, click on Flip, select the parameter and after select all the objects. Now I need here a second flip state. But this time I'm going to put it on this midpoint on the frame. That will flip the door around the X-axis, you will see. I go again to Action, click on Flip, select Flip State 2, and then select all the objects. So once I finish, I can delete the line that I don't need anymore, close the editor and save the changes. Now look how I can click on the flip actions to switch the direction of the door. Now let's insert the doors on the floor plan, but first put it beside the plan and place it on the door layer. Then I can insert the door on each place and switch the direction when necessary. For some of them, you have to rotate the block reference, the same that we did for the windows. There, I also need a double door on this floor plan. We can use the same block, copy it to a different place, then I use explode to return to their former objects. Notice that the objects are back on the layer 0, that's why they changed to white color. Now I delete the frame at the right. Then, with the command mirror, I select all the objects and make a mirror line at this endpoint, and the double door is finished. Then I create a block for this, choose double door for the name, and finally specify the base point. Then I can just grab the double door on the floor plan. To finish the door captor, change the opening of this door. I explode this block reference. Use the command rotate, select this line, then use a reference for the rotation and click on both endpoints of the line. So let's rotate the line more or less until here. Finally, just use the command trim to delete the parts which we don't need. Let's learn to insert text. I'm going to create a new layer for the text labels. Click on the layer panel with the right button, go to New Layer and choose a name. Then I keep it in white color. So, to write the labels in the rooms, I'm going to use the command text. I go with the mouse there, and you can see two kinds here. I choose single line text. Then I go with the pointer to the garage, click roughly here for the start point. Then I have to insert the text height. I type 350 in order to have the text with the same size as the exterior walls. For the rotation angle, I can type the angle of rotation or just place this dashed line on the direction that I want to type the text. Then I just type a text for this room, which is garage. When I finish, I need to click on a different place, and only then I press escape. Now I can repeat the command, single text again, but this time I type a smaller text height, for example 200. Here I'm going to write the area, which is going to be 12.42 square meters. So after this I'm going to copy both texts to all the rooms. By using this method, this can be a bit faster, and then I just need to edit the text. I double click on this object and change the name to its correct label, which is kitchen. Then click on the next and do the same. This one is the laundry. Okay, after changing all the rooms, I want to put the correct area for each of them. Okay, I can copy all the areas from the PDF file, that's true, but I think it's better if you learn to calculate an area in Autocad. It's an easy process. On the Utilities panel, click on the arrow below Measure, then go here to Area. To calculate an area, I just draw a polygon. And once I define all the vertices, I press enter and the area shows up on the screen. So in this case it's square millimeters. And you can see that it's a bit hard to understand as it has a lot of numbers. To convert square millimeters to square meters, we have to count 6 digits from the right and put a comma there. Then I can use the same process to calculate the remaining areas of this floor plan. So that's the end of the second part of this tutorial. On the third part, we will learn how to make the dimension lines and also to prepare the layout tabs in order to print this drawing and to reuse it in different projects. It's very important, so don't miss it. Thank you very much and see you on part 3.